Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. The head coach of UCLA football, good friend of the program. Back in studio, Jim Mora. How are you, Jim?
Rich, I'm great.
What do you think of this whole conversation
well,
with Des Bryant?
Your passion is off the chain.
Mora-esque?
It's Mora-esque. It's awesome.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I just think it's hard to argue with your points that he was making a football move.
Right.
But the rule is the rule, and the way, and it's just.
But I don't want the refs of the NFL and Dean Blandino is on the other end of the line in New York saying, well, is that a football act? Is that not a football act? Because now you're open to artistic interpretation, right?
There you go.
And these things should be just black and white in my mind. And if you just say, the guy had two hands on the ball, he's 2 feet or on the ground. Don't forget act.
You could argue a third step, really, right?
Yeah, I mean, and these guys are so big. I mean, he took off.
And they're artists. He's like a ballet.
Yes, he's taken off at the 8-yard line, and these guys are so huge that the process of a catch could be the length of an entire football chain of a first down these days.
Yeah.
And so,
I think everybody in the country, besides the Green Bay Packer fans, would probably agree with you today that was he caught the football, but by the letter of the law, did he possess it through the act of the catch?
I don't think he did. No, by the letter of the law.
But when you look, even Shannon. Okay, Shannon thinks you get 3 points for a touchdown. My wife. Yeah. Okay. And she thinks that instead of quarters, it's innings. You know, that's how much she knows about football. She goes, well, he caught the ball. You know, so here's a woman that doesn't know anything about football, and it's just, yeah, he caught it. It's so obvious.
And that's why I'm really passionate about it too. Is, you know, I love the game. The game's awesome. You love the game. And to have a game like that, Rodgers was so awesome on one leg.
Yeah, he was.
Romo had an incredible season. I mean, let's be honest. He had the best season of his career. The other shoe never dropped on him. He never threw that oh-no pick. He played phenomenal. Des Bryant is a beast.
And that was a great throw by Tony.
That was great. I mean, and this is the stuff that we should be talking about instead of parsing stuff out about the rule. And was this down? Was that down? And let's take a look at it from this angle. And that's what drives a little people nuts. But what happens in I mean, were you ever on the competition committee?
I wasn't on the competition committee.
So
they bring rules at the league meetings. You discuss rules with. Right. It would be not Dean Blandino, but you'd have rules discussions. And
Pereira was the guy back in your day,
Mike was the guy, right? And there'd be very heated debates about plays like this because you'd have all 32 coaches in a room together, and Mike was up there showing the video, and everybody has their own opinion. It would get very, very heated and sometimes kind of condescending towards each other. And someone would have to step in, and that was Mike, and then the competition committee to decide what the rule was going to be and what the interpretation was going to be. But for me, you know, when I watched that, I couldn't help but feel that Dallas got cheated a little bit. You know, that was my gut reaction. I'm wrong by the letter of the rule, but that was my gut reaction.
You know, Lions fans laugh when they hear that.
Well, yeah.
When they hear that.
I know.
The Lions Twitter account, I don't know if you probably didn't see it, but they tweeted out a picture of Calvin Johnson from that moment 4 years prior with the hashtag completed the process saying, we know, at Dallas Cowboys, we know the feeling. Yeah. Sorry, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And that got retweeted almost 50,000 times. Yeah. So, Jim Mora joining me here, UCLA head coach Jim Mora on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you think Jason Garrett, whose contract is up, by the way, is feeling right here, right now, today?
Just anguish. You know, you work so hard to get so close, and it's not just a one-year process. For them, it's been a 4-year process, 4 years and a half for Jason, and just the anguish and the sorrow you feel for a guy like Des, who plays so passionately, as we've seen, and it's a horrible feeling. There's no way you can go back and replay it, you know, and I don't think he's going to go anywhere now. Jason, I'm sure he's going to be a Dallas Cowboy. They've got to have something.
You think so?
Well, I would imagine they've got something worked out. I mean, Jerry Jones is way too smart to let him get away. I mean, he's done a tremendous job, in my opinion. But it's a horrible feeling when something like that happens to you. It's just there's nothing you can do.
What does the finality of a season feel like?
It's awful. I mean, you know, you wake up the next morning and you don't. What do I do today? You know, where do we go? It's the
East-West Shrine game. You know
the Senior Bowl. That's what he's thinking. He's going. I got to go to the Senior Bowl now.
Right. Yeah.
But it's really tough when you lose that way and you know, at the end of the year, there's only going to be one team that doesn't really, in the playoffs, that doesn't win their last game, and that's the Super Bowl champ, and everyone else is left with that feeling. And I think in some ways, that's what motivates you to get back up on it and go at it hard the next year.
And this is taking up all the oxygen in the NFL media room right now. And Peyton Manning, after the game last night, in which he was one and done for the 9th time in his first ballot Hall of Fame career, for the first time, didn't give a direct, oh, you bet I'm coming back answer. What did you see from a guy who, you know, your dad drafted him, you've seen him play?
I've been watching Peyton since high school.
Right.
I used to go watch him in high school where he was just so dominant. And
in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, at Bishop Manning, or not Bishop Manning. They should probably call it Bishop Manning now.
At Bishop Manning High.
It was a Catholic school in New Orleans.
Sure.
And we used to go watch him in high school. He used to come and work out with us when he was preparing to go to Tennessee. When we were with the Saints, and he was always the best quarterback on the field, believe it or not, when he was in high school. That's how amazing he was at that age. And he looked different to me than I've ever seen him after the game last night. First of all, his jacket didn't seem to fit right, and he's always so put together, and he pulled it, and he just didn't look like the Peyton that we've all seen. And in the game, you know, it was obvious that the arm strength wasn't there, and I just feel like it was really a difficult game. If that does in fact end up being his last game, to lose to the Colts and the guy that succeeded him and Andrew Luck, boy, what drama.
I just have a feeling, though, and again, Adam Schefter, good buddy from the Worldwide Leader, says it's a torn quad he's been playing with for the last month. And that makes sense in terms of how he's looked, but he's also a 38-year-old quarterback. And, you know, John Elway retired at 38. I mean, how many 39, 40-year-old quarterbacks with as many neck surgeries? At some point, no matter how great he has been in his playing career and how awesome he is from the neck up, the physical attributes, someone who know, and who's the evaluator there who would know?
John.
Right,
John
who would know
will
well. That's what Denver is going to have to thinking about over the next.
But if it is a torn quad, then that would directly affect his ability to throw the ball with velocity, because your throws come from your bottom half of your body. And, I mean, we don't know. They know. We don't know. I just expected yesterday, I thought it was going to be one of those moments that we remember forever, where Peyton Manning, who's struggled the second half of the season, comes out and he just lights it up, and he's on fire, and he's on point with everything. They talked about it in the pregame, how they'd never seen him look that sharp in pregame warm-ups, you know, all year, and he struggled. You know, they struggled as a team. They struggled defensively. I think one of the things we're missing here is their inability to put pressure on Luck, you know, with Miller.
They couldn't touch him.
And they couldn't get to him. And they went out and spent a lot of money in the offseason for those two bookends to rush the passer, and they couldn't get near Luck. So, you know, hidden in the drama of Peyton Manning are some other issues that they faced yesterday.
Well, and in this regard, you have to figuratively doff the cap to that offensive line of Indianapolis. And then the secondary, the back end, they sort of did in many ways what Seattle did to them in the Super Bowl last year, which was plaster them underneath, say, go ahead, you want to keep trying those double moves, you want to keep trying the wheel routes down the sideline, go for it. And Peyton kept overshooting them.
Well, they got one early. They got Landry on the flat and up.
For their touchdown.
And then they split Thomas out and threw the fade to him, so maybe they felt like the plan was going to work because it did early. But as we all saw, Indianapolis never backed up. They just backed off. They stayed up in their face. They pressed them, and they made them throw fades, and they couldn't hit the fade.
Before we go to break, and then we'll come back, we'll talk about the national championship game. I know you're friends with Dan Quinn, right?
Very good friend.
So what's he thinking right now as his defense is playing lights out, but there's also talk of him getting ready to finally get that head coaching job that he's been looking for.
Dan and I had a great conversation last night. We talk a lot, and he's an amazing coach, and he's done a great job with that defense. And I'm sure it's hard for him to think about, you know, anything other than what's happening in Seattle, but it's back of his mind. You know, what's going to happen next for me? I just look at getting a Super Bowl ring is an amazing thing. You know it. You got one last year. Go get another one, and then let things fall where they may. I think he's in the catbird seat. I mean, it's all working out for him right now. He's got, you know, potentially Atlanta waiting for him, maybe the Bears. We all know the Jets are sitting there waiting for him. He's playing for a chance to go to his second straight Super Bowl this week. Life's pretty good for Dan Quinn right now.
For all of those fan bases that are wondering who he would be like. What would he be like? A little bit of Pete, a little bit of Mora? Like,
no, he wouldn't be like Pete or me. Dan, he's an amazing guy. He's got great integrity. He's a great student of the game. I don't think you'll find a coach that's more respected by his players because of his genuineness. He's a great football mind. He's worked hard. I actually hired him, Mooch and I, who's coming in later.
Yeah.
Mooch and I hired him to be our quality control coach when I was the defensive coordinator at San Francisco. And from the first minute I met him, I said, this guy's special. There's something about him that's unique and different. We need to have him. And he's proven that to be true. He's going to be a great head coach. I think he'll be great with the media. If he will hire a great staff, and I think he's going to have tremendous success.
Yeah. And
now, he's a New York guy, so, you know, maybe
Where's he from?
He's from New York. He's from Jersey. Yeah, his family's all back there.
No kidding.
Yeah, he went to Hofstra. He coached at Hofstra.
Where the Jets used to train, where Wayne Crabett came from.
Yeah, I think he grew up a few minutes, like 5 or 10 minutes from the facility there, the new facility.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, that's not always a good thing, because I can tell you, going back to your hometown as a head coach is not easy. I got an internship with the Seahawks for a year, but it didn't keep me. Yeah.
Thank goodness it all worked out for you. And with Dan Quinn, everybody's balling out on that side. Yeah. And Ken Norton, we all know Ken, right? Ken is for that line. Bobby Wagner is off the charts awesome.
He is.
Cam Chancellor is just...
You just showed it, him going over the top of the center.
Oh, my goodness. This is unbelievable.
I loved what Earl Thomas said about him. He plays in a dark place.
You like that.
Oh,
you certainly want that from somebody in that position.
Yeah.
Jim Mora, head coach of UCLA, is right here. Let's take a break. We come back, we'll talk about tonight's big game in Dallas. And it's not involving the Cowboys. It's Oregon and Ohio State for all the marbles in a game that we've been waiting our whole lives for, an actual culmination. Playoffs aren't long enough in my mind. But we'll talk about that game that's coming up tonight on the Worldwide Leader in Sports with Jim Mora, head coach of UCLA, right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. I have the UCLA head coach Jim Mora in the TV-only segment we just had. We just addressed the Eric Stone Street, Jim Mora tete-a-tete. And we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Let's let it die.
Well, yeah, we'll let it go, as they say in the frozen country. The national championship game tonight.
It'd be great.
Oregon and The Ohio State University. You obviously know Oregon very well, being the Pac-12 coach that you are. What do you think Urban Meyer is looking at right now to stop Marcus Mariota from going off tonight in this game?
I don't know if you can stop him from going off. I think he's that good. I think one of the things that will hurt Oregon tonight is that they've lost 3 of their top receivers. And so they'll have to find someone to take the place of those guys. Devin Allen, Darren Carrington Jr., whose dad played in the NFL for a long time. And then I think they're starting tight end. But Marcus Mariota is unbelievable.
Why? Why? For people who might not have seen him, that tonight might be the first time that they see him.
Well, they're in for a treat. Number one, he's big, he's fast, he's physical, he's a great decision maker. He throws with amazing accuracy. He's a tremendous competitor. He understands their offense so well. His accuracy is uncanny. And then his ability to run the ball, as you're going to see here, I mean, you can't catch the guy. He's deceiving because he's so big. And above all of that is his character, his football character and his personal character. He's just a great kid. I mean, he loves to play the game. He does everything right. And I think that's why he's so attractive in the NFL, is because there's no baggage. You know, you're getting the real deal in every single aspect. He's a guy that can represent your organization at the highest level. He's never going to get in trouble off the field. He's going to be a great player on the field. I'm fired up for tonight because I want to see the Pac-12 finally show the United States of America and whatever part of the world's watching what kind of football we're able to play out here.
Well, I mean, the Big Ten's feeling the same way, too.
Sure they are. And I know you're a Big Ten guy. So
I know that, although I had Harbaugh on the show last Thursday. I finally got my coach on the show, and I asked him who to root for tonight.
What did he say?
He said Ohio State.
Well, how did that play in Michigan?
I'm having personally, I don't know how it's playing in Michigan. I just know how it's playing within my temples.
How's it playing?
Not very easily.
It's not?
It's not.
But that's your guy. I think you have to take your cue.
That's what I promised him I would, and I will. So in that regard, tonight, when it all kicks off, who do you think is going to just take your Pac-12 hat off?
Oregon.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they're wildly talented, and I don't think that you can come up with an answer for Marcus Mariota. I don't think anyone has yet. And as great a coach as Urban Meyer is, and as great a team as he has, and he does have an amazing team, and the fact that he's won and got himself to the national championship game with his 3rd quarterback is unbelievable.
It is.
But I don't think that you can stop this guy. I think he's too good, and then they've got a really good running game. I mean, that's what's often overlooked is their running game.
Now,
It'll be a great game.
Now, I know in the NCAA tournament, when they play basketball games in huge facilities, that it can be a little bit jarring. I mean, would you even make the case that, I mean, there's 100, this is a cavernous spot. This thing is.
We played there.
This
year. We played Texas this year.
Was that bizarre, or did your guys have to get? Listen, the Rose Bowl's no slouch, but there's also no roof over the Rose Bowl. It's like basically, let's put a roof over the Rose Bowl and this monster screen that you're staring at the entire time. It is jarring.
We went in a day early, obviously, and I had a highlight film made, and so when we walked on the field for our little walkthrough, on the big screen was our highlight film playing. And so I gave our players like 45 minutes to just lay on the turf, sit in the stands, and watch their highlight film. And so the next day when we played, I didn't see a whole bunch of guys looking up. I wanted them to get it kind of out of the way. We toured the stadium. We did the whole thing so that they realized that it was that 120 by 53 yards that really mattered, and none of that other stuff mattered. So we went in and did that.
It sounds like Hoosiers, right? Where the coach
well,
walked him in the Butler Fieldhouse. You didn't put the tape
No, I
measure?
didn't do that, but it was kind of a Hoosiers moment.
It's sort of a Hoosiers moment.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming in.
I
love it when you come in. Say hi to your dad.
I will.
Now, I've got 60 seconds left. How does your wife not know football? How does Shannon not know football?
Well,
She's been around it her whole life.
Shannon has other priorities in her life. 4 kids, her foundation, and fun.
I know.
You know, and usually when she's watching a football game, she's also got a martini in her hand.
She does have the beverage.
Yeah, she does have fun
you guys
in life.
ever met Shannon Mora?
You should have her on the show because you would laugh the entire time.
I don't know. We'd have to check with the FCC if that's allowable first.
I came home one night when I was coaching with the the 49ers.
Yeah.
Okay, I came home. We had 3 kids at the time, and I walk in and she's got those yellow dish gloves on.
Yeah.
And in one hand she's got a Starbucks, and in the other hand she's got a martini.
Yes.
So I go, how was your day?
Shannon Mora.
This is how my day was.
Jim, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
That's Jim Mora of UCLA. Steve Mariucci, Hour 3. When we come back, your phone calls. And Mike Pereira, the head of NFL Refs, formerly, now of Fox Sports. He lurks on this Rich Eisen Show program.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.